Good day, everyone. This is CJ Hassan of the Shangri-La Plaza, back again for Let's Talk Retail, the PRA's multi-awarded podcast. I'm very excited for today because this is another episode on multi-generational issues, concerns, and learnings. I have a veteran of the retail industry and the third generation member with us. So it's going to be an exciting episode, and I'm sure we're going to learn a lot from this one. All right, now let's meet our guests. Okay, the first.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us, CJ.
Oh, I was going to introduce you first.
Yeah. Okay.
It's okay. See, here's how excited he is. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Samie Lim. He's a veteran of this industry. He is one of the pillars of the industry. He has been awarded as pioneering pillar franchising, Philippine franchising. He's our stellar retailer. He's the founder and chairman emeritus of the Philippine Retailers Association. And of course, the chairman of Blims Lifestyle Group. That's Samie Lim. That's the second generation. Now let's meet the future. The future is Greg Lim, the third generation of the Lim family. He is the vice president of Blims Lifestyle Group, the leading furniture retail group in the Philippines. He's been there for 15 years, and he handles sales, marketing, and operations. Welcome, Greg.
Yeah, thank you, CJ, for having us. Yeah, we hope we can share something to our viewers and to the retail industry. Yeah.
Oh, yes. So, welcome, Greg and Samie, and I've been waiting for this particular episode. First up, Samie.
Yeah.
Was it natural for you to join the family business, being the second generation?
Well, in my case, originally after graduation, I wanted to take up masters abroad.
Okay.
But what happened was my brother, who was handling Abenson, got married and went on a honeymoon and asked me to take over for 2 months.
Okay.
2 months became 2 or 3 years, and I never got out of retailing. So that's it.
That's an interesting stuff. Caretaker naging permanent.
That's right.
Okay. And then later on, you just went through it already.
Yep. I worked for him, and then I worked for my father afterwards. So 2 different companies. Yeah.
All right. Now, how many kids do you have?
I have 6 children.
Are they all in the business?
Not in the same business, but all of them are in business. Yeah.
In business. Now, would you have wanted, after the caretaker portion, to go abroad and study?
I really would have wanted, and that's what I wish for all my kids. I asked them to have opportunity to study abroad and even to work abroad if possible. And what I only ask of them is to work with us for a couple of years. And if they want to stay on. If they don't want to stay on and they want to pursue something else, then they're free to go. And that's been the family policy.
So the sequence is for your kids is work first and then work first in the business, and then you can go out if you want to. Is that your sequence?
Yeah, no. But first, get a good education,
right.
Work abroad, and then work for us, and then work on your own if you want to. So 4 steps.
Interesting. And we ask these questions because when I look at the roster of Philippine retailers, many are multi-generational. It's slowly that they're getting in professional managers, or they're waiting for the return of their kids who are studying. Okay. Thanks, Samie, for that. Let's go to Greg. Okay, Greg. You went to school. Okay. Did you feel the pressure to join your dad?
Not really pressure. I guess we're 6 siblings, so I'm number 5. So there were already other siblings working in the business. But I think from the start, I've always wanted to work for the family business. I mean, ending up that was already one of the things to be part of something that the family owns and help out to grow it.
Okay. Just a question to both of you. During summer vacations, did you work in the business? Did you require kids to be in the business?
Well,
in my case, all summer I worked. I worked all summers. Yeah.
When you were growing up?
When I was growing up, yeah.
How about your kids? When you were the one running the business already?
Well, I don't know, Greg, did I ask you to work? Okay.
Yes. So summers was, of course, there was they were a bit flexible. So there was a break time naman. But usually the summer is long. So after all, we would go to the office. I remember even when I was very, very young talaga. So what can we do as young kids? So we really help out in a way na we would go to the office and the conference room would be filled with documents. Then we were tasked for filing the whole day, filing all those documents properly. So that was some of the work that we did. They also asked us to sell, but I think it's a bit ingenious because I remember we used to sell family computer games.
Oh, okay.
So generally we were playing. So it's like we were demoing. Then, kids and the parents will say, hey, these kids are having fun, enjoying, and they would buy these games. So we were also on the sales floor and of course visiting stores. They would take us, try to explain as much things and expose us to how a store runs.
Were you paid?
Sorry?
Were you paid?
I can't recall now. I hope so.
No, but what was it about working in the store, the learnings you had working in the store during the summer? For you, Samie, when you were growing up in the 60s and 70s?
Yeah, well, everybody starts from the bottom. No? I remember first, our background is appliance. We were in the appliance business originally. So I started selling batteries. Then I graduated to selling flat irons. I graduated to selling radios and electric fans and then TVs and so forth and so on. So, up the ladder. I really started from the bottom. And I enjoyed it because it's a lot of fulfillment. And I guess there were a lot of praises. So I was happy with, being able to contribute.
Okay. How about you, Greg? What were the learnings of working on summer?
Yeah, well, of course, earlier examples, those were when I was really young, grade 2, grade 3. Of course, when we got a bit older in high school, we were asked to go to the stores and so the store personnel trained us in certain aspects. And then we would file a report, generally with our parents. Okay, what did we learn? What did we notice? Improvements and even suggestions. One thing, I guess, with all those, a lot of the training also is going with them around. For example, when we go abroad, we look at retail stores, and we don't go there just to shop. We really look at there to learn best practices. Diba? Oh, this is something we can do. So I remember we would take photos, we would really catalog everything. Then when we came back, we would report it to the management. Oh, these are the best practices that we saw in other retailers abroad. Some things that we can actually use for our own business. Okay. So a lot of this. So training, and of course they do get our suggestions, recommendations, and that's how my parents would give us feedback, and even the management of the company would give us feedback. Hey, that's a good idea. This one, not really. Then we'll learn from that.
Okay. Now, that means I will always be very curious about this. Yeah. Does that mean during family dinners you still keep on talking about business or lunches?
Well, in my case, yeah, it goes without saying. Yeah, even during dinner, even between me and my parents, we just talked about business all throughout.
Okay.
Because we work in different places, so we come back and we report to each other.
Okay, so that's your time to catch up and update.
Yeah.
It's the same for you when you're growing up, Greg?
Yeah, we always talk about business, but of course these days we also talk about our other aspects of our lives, family, our kids, So we do share a lot of other things, but business will always be there. Kasi we're all working for the family, and it's different businesses also. So we share with each other.
And of course, the latest Marites.
Yeah.
Okay. As you were talking about earlier, before we recorded, the intergenerational dynamics. Okay. Samie, like me, is a baby boomer. Greg, and yes, we've established you are the millennial, but the kuya. All right. Is there a difference in the styles of management? Let's say, Greg, what do you notice is your dad's style of management? And I'm going to ask Samie to tell me what's the style of a millennial. Okay. Let's start with Greg. What do you notice with your dad's management?
For my dad, well, my dad has always been a visionary. So
Okay.
his management style is really up there. He really talks about where we can go in the next 5, 10 years, or how big we can grow. And he inspires our people also in that
Okay.
same breath. Diba? Hey, we're going to be aggressive. We're gonna grow. So that's always his management style, to really inspire the people
Okay.
to think big and do big things.
How about the spirit of innovation?
Sorry.
Innovation.
Yeah.
Innovation. Is
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
something
yeah,
more aggressive innovation or
yeah. Well, I'll get credit for that. No, I'm a visionary and an
right?
innovator, but there's a bad word for that. No, I have a new idea every day, so my children get so confused because yesterday I said we'll do this, and today I'll say something else, and it just continues coming up. I'm really a creative person. I
Yeah.
cannot sit down and do things repeatedly.
Yeah.
I really have to have something new. Yeah.
Okay, which brings me
Yeah.
to
So sorry to add. So yeah, my dad really is when you talk about innovation, yeah, he would know uh things way in advance.
okay.
Minsan, because he really, goes to all the conferences, watches all the documentaries and news. So he knows what's happening all around the world. So he would have all these innovations. So what I've learned through the years is when he says something, minsan you don't have to do it immediately. Kasi nga, it's every day, it's a new idea. So, but what I've learned naman, what I will say, there's always a right time for that idea. So I make sure I take note of it. I would have a file in my computer, log in, then it's somewhere there in my mind. So
Right.
maybe months or sometimes even years ahead. Hey, that's a perfect idea. Then I recall it came from, one of the ideas my dad had years back.
Okay. Now, Samie, what do you learn? Or how would you characterize Greg being a millennial? What's the management style? How does he approach the business?
I don't know if it's a matter being millennial, but Greg, I said, is a retailer. No, retail is detail. Greg
Okay.
is so detailed. He knows exactly, how many items you have in the warehouse, how many items to be delivered tomorrow, how it will be delivered, by how many trucks, what time the trucks will be back. He knows the sales of each of the stores. He knows the salespeople. So in all the detail, he knows. That I really don't know. And that's what I say is probably what a retailer should be. And we're so happy to have him.
Okay. But is there any, if you look at conflicts or disagreements, on what topics are these usually about? Greg, you want to try that first?
For conflict, I guess it's more, well, as I mentioned, my dad would have a lot of ideas.
Okay.
Of course, sometimes it might be a timing issue. We would have different perspectives.
All right.
Maybe that's not the right time, but for him, it is the right time. So I think it is a good balance because sometimes if we're a bit too conservative,
All right.
no, we want to, everything should be 100% perfect before we do something. It can't be like that all the time. Sometimes we just have to go out there and, try the innovation and see if it works. So that's how companies last long, the longevity of the company. Kasi if you always want to be super 100% sure, you'll be very stagnant. And, 5-10 years down the road, you'll be left behind talaga.
Okay. Samie?
I'm very open-minded. I know I'm an idea a minute, and it's ideas are a dime a dozen. It's execution that counts. So I give them that leeway to execute it properly. Yeah.
I like that. Idea a minute. So it's like a fountain of, it's a whirlpool of ideas coming from your dad. But what is it about the younger generation, Samie, that amazes you now? When you look at your kids.
Well, I used to be an idea a minute, but the kids now have 10 ideas a minute because they just Google it and they can come out with things I never even thought about it. So okay. I think they're beating me now on that one. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I have a question on Your dad, Samie, was the first generation. You are second generation. Greg is the third generation. The fourth generation is still young. Do you see them coming into the business? Your kids, Greg, kids of Eric, do you see them coming to the business, or do you want them first to work outside?
Asking me? Yeah.
Both of you. Both of you.
No, I think some of them will. Again, the same rule. Go to the best school, study abroad if possible, so you can see other cultures,
right,
and work abroad if possible, and then come back and work with us if you want. But I really don't expect all of them to be working with us. So some of them will have their own future, and I'll respect that, and we'll support them.
That's good. Greg, your response?
I think both my mom and dad has always been very supportive. So as you mentioned, just work 2 or even 3 years in the company to see if you like it, and of course it was a company that finance your education technically. So of course you have to give back, something like that. So with the next generation, I don't think we expect everybody to join the business, but we'd like to grow the business. So it's big enough also that we would need some of them to help out in certain aspects. So I think that's a challenge always for the next generation. How do you grow it bigger? Because the family grows, keeps on growing. Yeah. And the problem is if the business does not grow. So when we became more active, and our parents gave us more leeway and responsibility. So that has always been one of the challenges. Okay, how do we grow the business in the next 5 years? And we always talk about we want to double the size in 5 years as a starting point. Always like that. How do we keep doubling?
I'm looking at the brands on your left side. I'm saying, okay, you want to grow the business. Are you looking at growing the business still being in these durables, or you're looking at, diversifying and going into food? Because I've seen some fashion retail groups go to food. Is that the kind of diversification you're looking at? Samie, then Greg?
I don't know. I would like to think we should stick to our own core competence. If I can give a trivia, I'm really third generation, because my great-grandfather started the furniture business in 1890. And then my great-grandfathers, continued it. We were the largest pre-war, and after the war, they closed. And we restarted with Blims. But Blims, in effect, our roots goes back even 2 more generations up. So I think we're basically, our DNA is in craftsmanship, furnitures, and furnishings. Yeah.
Right. And you don't see getting out there, like go to tech, financing, food and all that stuff. With you, still.
Me, I don't. But if any of the children have the talent for that, I don't. We'll support them. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a big possibility, but it might not be under BLG, because what we want for us, it's a bit more focused. So if you're BLG is more about furniture, furnishings. So anything aligned to that will be under this group. Then we can start another company that focuses on other industries like food.
That's a diversification. Okay. March 2020 was quite an experience for all of us. And it's now 2023. It's the 3rd year already. We've seen revenge travel, revenge shopping, revenge dining in the 4th quarter. Okay. But if you pull back now, what were the key learnings for you during the 3 years that we were in the pandemic? Let's start off with Samie. Key learnings.
I think Greg will start on that. We're talking about it and you have some insight. Then I'll come in.
Okay. Well, key learnings, of course. One thing we really appreciated during the pandemic is our people. I mean, in any crisis, who do you lean on? Your people will lean on you. At the same time, you also lean on them. So you have to make sure that you've trained them well, you've given them the tools to grow and to help out during times of crisis. So, we really value our people. I've heard a lot of retailers every time I hear in podcasts, seminars, etc., they always appreciate their people during the pandemic. You know, they saw their people biking miles just to get to work.
Right.
You know, they're very tired, they're pagod na pagod, but pumapasok talaga sila. Araw-araw, they really put in the effort. So that's one of the first things. So really value your people. And number two, of course, during times of crisis, finances are always important. So the fiscal discipline of things. It used to be, you would say, okay, magtipid tayo. Let's save money. Let's not spend on these things. You know, try to really spend as little as you can. But of course, there's always that you just have to value spend. You can spend money, but make sure you get good value for it. Kasi you need to have quality spend as well. Kung hindi, you'll be repeating things over and over. So during the pandemic, we really looked at a lot of the fiscal aspects of the business, whether it's stores, you know, how do you get these stores up to par? How do you make departments more efficient?
Okay.
And we've always heard, sabi nila, hey, our people are even more efficient during the pandemic.
Okay.
You know, kaya pala, they used to do X number of things in a day. Now, how come they're doing more? So, you know, we learned a lot of those things, and we wanted to make sure that those things were continued even after the pandemic. So generally, those are some of the things during the pandemic that we really saw.
Thanks, Greg. Samie.
Yeah. Well, what I see during the pandemic is we really took a very deep dive into understanding the consumer, of the different segments of the consumer. Now, very interesting. They may belong to different economic class, but their social standing is different, or they try to pretend they are higher, or so forth and so on, or they are so kuripot, they try to presume themselves to be lower and all that. But the bottom line is there's always aspiration for a better life. And that's why in Blims, that's what we target. We say, you deserve this. It's about time you have this, okay? And they just need a little pushing to push them to that level of buying. So that we have learned, you know, because during pandemic, people were matipid and so forth and so on. But you know, we just have to learn how to learn the psychology and so forth and so on. I think that's one of the big lessons we learned.
Let me push that some more. Pandemic evolved shoppers. How would you characterize the Pinoy pandemic evolved shopper? Aside from getting value for their money, what else did you observe from them?
Are you talking about during the pandemic or after the pandemic?
Pandemic into now the normalization.
Well, I see that, you know, from my different experience,
yes,
they have been able to save a lot of money, right? They have not been going out to entertain. They have not been buying new things, and they didn't buy a new car. They didn't, you know, so they have a lot of money. So you're right, no? There's pent-up demand in tourism. During Holy Week, every other major destination is jam-packed. Yeah. And that's why there's a, you know, uptick on the COVID. I think there's a COVID, you know, again, second round because of the, yeah. And all the restaurants, you see people wanting to go out and meet their family, their friends, and so forth and so on. And so same thing with health, wellness, and beauty. Everybody wants to retouch their face, look a bit more beautiful, and look more presentable, so forth and so on. So all the money they have saved up, they want to spend it, and it's a challenge now for us as furniture to get a part of that money, because that money is going all over the place. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Money's there, need to get a part of it, right? That's what. Greg, you wanna give your insight?
Yeah. Well, during the pandemic, well, in the furniture industry, we're a bit lucky because everybody got stuck in their homes. So people started to value their homes more in terms of what furniture they buy. You know, everyone started to become their own interior designer. You know, I'm an expert in this because I saw something on Instagram, Pinterest. So the interest in furniture increased. And good thing with our company, you know, what helped us during the pandemic is, as you can see, we have multiple brands, and each of those brands cater to a different market segment.
Okay.
So at any given month, a market segment was doing good, but it shifts. For example, the bit more higher end was good for this quarter. Next quarter, it might have been a bit more difficult, but then our more affordable lines started booming. So then, of course, everybody started to work from home, so our office lines started booming. So it really helped us a lot. In terms of the change in behavior, for us, I think it's a bit more difficult. Sometimes they became a bit more demanding. You know,
Okay.
even if it was pandemic, no, but yeah, you would expect, pandemic, everybody would be more understanding. But I guess kasi people were stuck in their homes, you know, they weren't doing anything. So if they bought furniture, they would want it as soon as possible. They're not willing to wait because it's one of the things that they were really excited about.
Okay.
And before, you know, they would just call the store or visit the store. Now, they Viber the store or they leave an FB Messenger message. Then they expect you to answer within a few minutes. So there was this. So some of the customers were a bit more demanding, but which was also good. It showed that they were very, very excited in buying their furniture. So what the challenges on our end was, we really had to, you know, train our people more. One, you really have to know more than your customers because everybody was in their house. So they probably spent 30 minutes, 1 hour to research the product. So if they call you and they know more things about the product than you, that will be a problem. So we had to teach our people a lot of new ways to sell, how to handle customers, so on and so forth.
Which brings me to this topic of technology, okay, the omni-channel and all this stuff, people researching. So do you think online is going to replace offline or online replacing brick and mortar in the Philippines?
Well, let me start. I think online is going to play a big part in the basic commodity. Anything that has become commoditized, there's no differentiation between your product and the other person's product, and it is a basic need. But for product that needs the perfect fit, the perfect comfort level, for something that you have to touch, you have to feel, you have to smell, I think we are not in trouble. Okay, people will still want to, you know. So I think furniture we're okay. Yeah.
Because furniture can be bought, you need to feel it. I mean,
yeah, you know,
yeah.
If you buy furniture online, you find out it's not comfortable. What are you gonna do? You're gonna find out your leg doesn't touches the floor because it is just 2 inches above, and the picture doesn't show that. And so forth and so on. You just have to go and fit. It's just like a pair of shoes. You have to fit it properly.
All right, Greg, your comment on that online versus
regarding brick and mortar versus online, everybody keeps talking about that. We can still actually look at countries that are more developed in terms of e-commerce than us. Of course, the US, you know. Yes, well, e-commerce is taking a bigger percentage. Brick and mortar is still there. But in terms of brick and mortar, you really have to adjust how you do your business. For example, for us, brick and mortar. So a majority of our business is still in our stores. But as I mentioned, customers do research night, you know, when they. So it's like it has to complement each other. You know, our online store, our online channels should have enough information to get the customer excited when they research online about our products. But a lot of them would still end up going to the store, especially because furniture, you really have to touch it and feel it. We always hear these stories. Hey, I bought something online. It looked good. The price was good, but when it came, the quality was really not good. The comfort was not good for me. So I think that's why a lot of people when they buy furniture, they still want to really touch, feel, and try. And we do encourage that. We always say across all our brands, you know, the furniture that we give you is not just a showcase piece. It's not just there for display. It's there to be sat on, to be slept on. You know? So you really have to try. We always encourage a customer to try.
So the online is really research. Yes.
CJ, one more thing, really.
Go.
On furniture, many people do not really know what is bagay to them, no? What matches with their existing furniture. So they really need somebody in authority to say, well, if you're living this kind of a house, modern, maybe this doesn't really go with it. If the color of your wall is this, maybe this is enough. So they need an influencer, and our people are trained to ask questions. They don't just say, somebody wants to buy this sofa. Oh yeah, how much is it? And that's it. We ask questions. Where will you use it? What is the background, so forth and so on. And that is very, very key to our being able to sell furniture. Thank you.
Okay. Now, another topic will be competition. I have noticed that big boxes are coming in for furniture. What's your comment on that? Is that friend or frenemy or enemy?
Well, let's start with the biggest box, right? IKEA. Yeah, everybody asks the same question.
Thank you.
I guess you're being polite. No,
Yes.
IKEA we feel is a frenemy. IKEA will quench the thirst of the public for a new furniture.
Yes.
But their furniture they buy will not last long.
Okay.
Then they will now learn the lesson. It must not only look good, it must be comfortable, and it must last long. So there are three things: looks good, comfortable, and last long.
Right.
And IKEA is their mantra. Even the owner says is every day, let's see how we can make that furniture cheaper. Let's find something another material to make it cheaper. So their product are not really meant to last. But they have that market. They have the market for people who want some temporary furniture. People who come from the province to get a condominium, students who come and go for the so on. Yeah. Right.
It's like fast fashion.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, Greg, your thoughts on the topic?
Yeah. Well, competition. Of course, we're always afraid of new competition, but it also pushes us to innovate. To think of the next big thing. For brands like IKEA and other brands, famous brands from abroad that come here, one thing that is good is they increase the interest in furniture.
All right.
In furnishing your home. So at the end of the day, it increases the entire industry for us. So it's a matter of, okay, they're here. More people are interested in furniture. Okay, how do we get consumers to buy from one of our brands?
Okay, and because you said there's all the brands there on the left side, there is a price point and a lifestyle in a market that's appropriate for it. Okay, my last two questions. The first quarter of 2023 was not exactly easy. We were, getting, despite the good fourth quarter. How do you see the balance here? Now we're into summer. How do you see the third and fourth quarter? Samie?
Well, number one is you cannot be all things to all people. You have to understand which market segment you're after. Well, I think Greg will answer the rest. Greg?
It's okay, Greg.
Yeah, for market outlook, we're always positive. I mean, okay, one thing I'd like to share. I mean, one of my personal mantras, when I talk to our people, I always say, our first challenge at any time is actually just a mindset problem.
Okay.
If even during the pandemic, the first challenge isn't the pandemic, it's the mindset of our people. Hey, we're in a pandemic, it's okay not to sell. In retail, every day you have to sell. Whether it's typhoon season, low foot traffic, everyone's out of town. You can never say, okay, there's a reason for me not to sell today. So that's what I always teach our people across the organization. It's mindset. You always have to fight the mindset. If I may, sorry, it might, if I may. So we've really spent through the last even 10 years, we really spent a lot of time building culture within the company. BLG was actually part of the AAI business before. Then in 2014, we decided to spin off. We were incubated enough and we wanted to grow, because sometimes appliance and how you grow furniture is a bit different. So we wanted to grow it both independently. So we were given that opportunity in 2014. So one of the first things that we did was that, hey, let's strategize, how do we sell more, etc. What we did was actually, we started asking, okay, what will be the culture of BLG? So we went through our mission statement, our corporate values, down to our prayer. We had our company prayer, all this nitty-gritty, and even a company cheer. I remember one time when my dad was still with LG years back, we went to one of their Christmas parties and he started cheering with thousands of workers or hundreds of thousands of workers. So that was something very exciting. And he said, hey, maybe that's something nice. You know, you have to, the people within the organization should be really excited. Because if they're not excited working for you, they can't excite the customer, definitely. So we implemented projects at what I call internal marketing. What we saw, we always preach to the consumers, hey, we opened a new store, we have this new collection. Then we found out our own people did not know. Aside from the marketing department, the merchandising department, and the store, the rest of the organization did not really know what we were doing. So they were not excited that we opened new stores. So we had more more meetings, like town halls with the rest of the organization, and even a bit old school, a newsletter, which talked about all the things that we did during the last quarter or half year, where everybody can read and know and hopefully get excited in what we're doing. Then after we did all these culture things, we started talking about vision. So that was 2014. So we wanted to do Vision 2020. So Vision 2020 was we call it Vision 2020, a clear path to success. So we wanted to grow from 2014 to 2020 on how we can double our size, the size of the company. And we're very proud of the team that we were able to do that by 2019. Unfortunately, of course, the pandemic hit. So everything got stalled after that. But now we're looking at, okay, how do we talk about 2030? You know, we want to more than double our growth once again. So in terms of outlook, then it's always positive for us. Then no excuses. We have to, whatever the market gives us, whatever the economic situation, we have to find a way to grow and grow sustainably. I think that's one of the things we also talk about with our company. BLG, the furniture line division, has been there since 1977. So we're already 45, 46 years. So when we talk to our people, we all talk about longevity. We're not after the quick sale. There's a lot of ways to make the quick sale, but we make sure the products we sell the customers, they'll be happy. So they'll be coming back, and their next generation will be coming back from us. Okay.
AJ, yeah.
Sorry, it's a bit.
Samie, yes.
Yeah, if I may, yeah.
Go.
Earlier I said, the purchasing power is there. Okay, we have to compete for that purchasing power.
Right.
Whether they want to have, go out on a vacation and they want to eat and so forth and so on. But what we are sending, and we're very clear in our messaging, we make your house a home. A home is where you build a family. Okay, it is there every day, the next 365 days, the next 5 years. Okay, it is something that's lasting. It's something that you need to build a home and a family. And we're fortunate that there are so many housing development, whether it's condominium or even the pag-ibig housing and so forth and so on. So I think, and the government, on infrastructure building, is going to create more township and so forth and so on. So I think we are very optimistic. And I think the key there is really branding. We do not just sell, a furniture, okay? We sell a lifestyle. And
Right.
that's what we talk about aspiration. And that's how we differentiate ourselves.
An interesting point you said there is about from the heart, about family. And that's very important for Filipinos. Okay, my last question. The both of you, what keeps you awake at night? Samie?
Well, being what I am, at night I think of another new idea I want to implement tomorrow. So that's it. Yeah.
Okay, be warned, Greg. Okay, so it's another new idea. How about you, Greg? What keeps you awake?
A lot of things.
Okay.
A lot of small things also. Well, they say about retail is like a never-ending treadmill. So
Right.
there's always something. You're always chasing after something. There's always problems, obstacles. But in terms of the bigger picture, I think for me, it connects to working in the family business. I think I mentioned earlier. The biggest pressure is really how do you grow the business to a point that it's really big enough for the next generation. I mean, that's really the challenge.
Right.
When we started 2014, our vision was clear. 2020, double the size. We did that. The pandemic is a bit more about, hey, we have to survive this and how to keep growing. So now, I think, what's next? That's the thing that is keeping me up at night. We usually do a slogan for the company every few years. We started with be responsible at BLG. Everybody has to be responsible in their task, their duty. And a few years after that, we changed it to we are one BLG. We were trying to make sure that everyone is aligned, the same goal. Everybody works together to reach our goal. Recently, because it's post-pandemic already, our new mantra for probably this year, next year is rise up stronger. So it's not only rise up, it's really, we have to rise up better than before. So what keeps me up at night is really, how do we really grow? That's really the challenge, every time, every day. Talaga, hey, how do we grow this business? And maybe next time when we have a podcast, this will be not only 5 brands, it might be 10 brands, 15 brands. But we also like that. It's challenging running different brands, but it also helps out. Because in any economic situation, a certain market segment will always do well. So we can focus our resources in that particular segment and help every other brand weather the storm.
All right. Thank you so much.
KJ, can I rephrase that? No.
Sure.
I think at night, just to be a bit clearer, I think what keeps me up at night is to how we can continue to be agile, continue to change, so that we will still be relevant to the consumer tomorrow. Because tomorrow's customers are going to be the same today. So that's basically it. Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good. All right. Have a good night's sleep tonight. Thank you so much, Samie and Greg. Thank you for joining us today. It's a very insightful and eye-opening. Thank you for sharing. And I hope, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a fun time listening and learning from Samie and Greg Lim of the Blims Lifestyle Group. Again, thank you, Samie and Greg. And ladies and gentlemen, don't forget YouTube. Let's Talk Retail. We're also on Spotify. For that, thank you again.